everybody. Welcome to my live stream. Day 25. Wow. After today, I guess that leaves only one more week of Inktober 2018. So today's prompt was prickly, and it made me think of a pretty obscure character. I don't think a lot of people will know who he is, but he had a prickly demeanor. So his personality is what I'm thinking of specifically for this. And hello, Spider Boy. So I don't even know if anyone out there will recognize this character. I'll wait until someone guesses it before I sort of confirm it. But yeah, this is a relatively obscure character these days. Hello, J. Andrew World. Don't worry about missing streams. Thank you for stopping by. Hello, Sigamigs. Yeah, Swamp Thing? No, not Swamp Thing. Let's see. I can't wait till somebody guesses. I know somebody out there will figure out what I'm drawing, but I'm hesitant to just flat out announce it. I just think it's too delightfully weird. I don't even know how it popped into my head. Do you ever wonder like how the brain works that we make the connections that we do? It's so bizarre. But when I heard prickly, it made me think of this character, and I was like, "Oh, perfect! No one will guess this." Let's see. We've got James Gleason, who has guessed it. Atomicus Video Studios, Sheldon Martin, Keith Gale. No, this isn't an action figure. Hello to Mandela Butterfly. So thanks all for joining. This is just a character from sci-fi, and who was onto it? James Gleason was onto it. But he still hasn't exactly explicitly been named, so I'll wait until somebody names the character. Let's see. Keith Stoll's here. Aldi. Yep, you guys got it. It's Hawk. Thank you for watching, Goku. I appreciate it. It's in the description. Oh, right. It's in the description. Excuse me. All right. Well, hopefully, as I move along, this guy will get a little bit more defined, and you'll sort of see who I'm drawing here. I don't expect too many people to remember the short-lived two-season show Buck Rogers from like I think 1979 to about 1981. Pretty old these days. Don't think that they really keep it much in syndication, but it probably pops up here and there from time to time. But Buck Rogers is definitely one of the very first comic book and comic strip characters, originally debuting in pulp novel, two short stories really, if I'm remembering correctly, and very quickly being adapted into comic strips, and shortly thereafter comic books. So definitely has quite the pedigree when it comes to comic book history. All right, what are folks talking about? I completely forgot about that character. It's kind of cool. Thank you, Peter. If I scrolled down, I would not have seen it. Buck Rogers was my jam when I was in preschool. Yeah. At first, I thought it was Bird Person from Rick and Morty. Well, Sigmigs, now you know who Bird Person is based off of. Bird Person is a direct parody of Hawk from Buck Rogers. Like, that's just flat out Dan Harmon doing his version of Hawk's voice. And they illustrated him with like pretty much the same bizarre headpiece. They just also gave him wings. It's about the only real difference. Hawk had a great visual look. That's about all you can really say for him. Let's see. Fernando Prado. Dude, I love your channel. You're a good guy and your videos always brighten my day. Wow, thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Hawk's backstory was that humans made war on his bird people, so he was prejudiced and distrustful, but he became Buck Rogers' friend eventually. Pretty quickly, actually. Within like the span of 2 episodes, he became Buck Rogers' sidekick. But yeah, if you've watched Rick and Morty, Bird Person is none too subtly trying to be a parody of this character, and the only reason most people don't remember it is, you know, most people don't remember Buck Rogers at all, let alone a character from its 2nd season. He wasn't even in season 1. He was only in 1 season of the show. But I've definitely beefed him up a bit, superhero proportions wise. My challenge was to see if I could make this somewhat goofy character look cool. Wasn't there a Hawk woman? Yeah, there was. Corey was his wife, and or mate anyway, and she died, and that's what motivated him to start killing people. But then Buck Rogers taught him that people could be good. And he decided to join Buck Rogers on his quest to find more bird people out there in the universe. Isn't that beautiful? Hello, TARDIS Rider. Thank you for joining. Have you heard of the movie Rubber? Yeah, I have. I've seen that movie. That's about the killer tire, correct? Let's see. Graphite Grappler, Jack Jones, Sheldon Martin. He's been taking Captain America juice. Yeah, well, he actually sort of wore a what would you call it? Like just sort of a chest plate, and that's what made him look so buff. He had a really cool costume, especially for its day and age. I just sort of took it as a personal challenge to draw something obscure and then try to make him look cool, but we'll see if I'm able to accomplish that latter part. Who's your favorite YouTube artist? You know, I guess I don't watch really any artists on YouTube. I should. I would like to discover some good ones. Chrissy watches several. Chrissy knows some good artists on YouTube. What's your next video about? How big is your collection? You gonna sell this art? All right, I can answer those questions. Should I just flat out tell you though what my next video is gonna be about? I feel like that would sort of be spoiling it since it's not out yet. So I'll just sort of play a little coy here and just say that my next video will be about horror, and it will also discuss Italian comics to a large extent. So you can guess away, but I won't confirm or deny anything beyond that right now. I'll just leave that there. What else were you asking? How big is my collection? Not big at all. I moved across the country a little over 4 years ago. Actually, I guess it's coming up on 5. And I sold my comics collection before I moved. I sold it all. I used to have about 30 long boxes, so it was pretty sizable. Now I probably only have enough to fill maybe 2 long boxes, maybe. So I don't have much. I just sort of kept the stuff that was sentimental to me more than anything else, and I just sold the rest. So I don't have a large comic collection. And, oh, that's right. And you said, am I going to sell these? I already have been. I didn't necessarily expect there to be much interest. So I just offered it up on my personal social media to friends and family. And to my surprise, almost all of it's sold. Well, at least as of like a week ago when I first decided to put it up. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, selling them each for $50 a pop. I figure that's a decent representation of like what I figure my time is worth. So yeah, I am selling them, and they're actually moving, which is nice. Let's see. All right. The Tiger Man on the show was a big fat guy who was painted with tiger stripes. Yup. Drawfee, is that like somebody that's on YouTube that's worth watching? Sounds like it, maybe. Jack Jones says, I stay up all night till they show reruns of Kolchak the Night Stalker. That's awesome. I like supernatural detectives, and Kolchak the Night Stalker was a pretty cool idea. Not every episode was awesome, but, you know, Darren McGavin, great actor. Cool premise. Definitely paved the way for shows like X-Files. So yeah, that's awesome. Be with you in just a moment, everyone. I'm just focusing on getting a detail here, and then I'll be able to jump back into the chat. Thank you all for your patience. Almost there. But thanks also for the questions. That really helps me focus when I can just sort of answer a question or two, and then I have something to talk about. It's a nice way to move through the show, through the live stream. All right, let's see. Wilma Deering was beautiful. I saw her in person once at a convention years ago. Yeah, Erin Gray, right? She was pretty. What's my favorite manga? Anything by Naoki Urasawa. Sometimes it's Monsters, sometimes it's Pluto. Yeah. Javon Miles also agrees that Drawfee is an awesome drawing channel. Okay. JoJo joins us in True Fan Forum. That's awesome. Let's see. The box office artist has the most detailed art ever. Don't know that one. The little robot was Twiki. Yeah, and it was voiced by Mel Blanc, Bugs Bunny. So I always liked, as a kid, like I really liked Twiki. He'd go like, bitty bitty bitty, hey Buck. Yeah, that wasn't too bad of an impression, was it? I always remember one moment in an episode. Don't know what the episode was about, so I'd have trouble finding it or telling you anything else about it. All I remember was that, so there was this little robot on the show. He had like sort of a head that looked like a penis, and I'm not kidding, like that's just what it looked like. And he talked with Mel Blanc's voice. He was basically the comic relief. And in one episode, all of a sudden there's a pink girl version, and she goes, "Booty, booty, want to dance, Twiki?" And he goes, "Bitty, bitty, bitty, of course. Bitty, bitty, bitty." Chris, I have a sentimental affection for Charlton horror comics. Do you remember those? Yeah, what's his name? Steve Ditko actually did a fair amount of that early in his career. I don't own any, but I've definitely read some. I don't really even remember what the context would have been, how I came across it now, but it's been a while too. It's been quite a while since I've read it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Charlton had a lot of interesting stuff. They had a really interesting history, and I think just talking about them as a publisher would probably make for an interesting episode at some point, because they just have some really interesting history. I mean, they were flat out founded by some guys that worked for the mob. And yeah, they did some shady stuff, but they also produced some really cool comics, so definitely an interesting history. Could make for a really cool episode. What else? Hello, I Sketchson. Did you miss much? Well, not too much, you can see. Oh Lord, your Twiki is spot on, Chris. Thank you. I felt like as I did that it sounded right, but I haven't watched Buck Rogers since I was a kid, so it's hard to really remember. What about Princess Ardala? She was hot. Yeah, they had some beautiful women on the Buck Rogers show. They changed Twiki's voice at some point, and it was really odd. It became feminine? Really? I thought it was Mel Blanc the entire run. I sincerely don't remember him having anything other than the one voice. I mean, there was also Dr. Theopolis, his sort of Flavor Flav blinking clock that he had on his chest that would be like, "Twiki, please, carry me around." And he'd go, "Bitty, bitty, bitty, okay, Doc." I'm having too much fun doing that voice. How's everybody else's Inktober going? Anybody else accomplish anything that they felt good about? Like even if it's just one piece or an arc, etc. Mel Blanc also did Duck Dodgers, right? Probably. Remember the Green Lantern episode? I don't remember the Green Lantern episode. I'm sorry. Huh. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, James Gleason. Like the pilot episode was essentially released to a bunch of movie theaters, and it did all right. So that's how NBC was like, yeah, okay, we'll pick up the thing for a full series. Um, but it never did great in the ratings, and I think it was honestly because it kept sort of trying to chase trends. The first year they were trying to sort of be Star Wars, and then the second year they were trying to be Star Trek, and they should have just sort of gone their own direction and done their own thing, but they really never did. So I did a sort of quick 5 minute sketch of Hawk during my lunch break today because I was like thinking that that's what I wanted to draw. So it came out way goofier. Like I say, it was really quick. I just sort of banged it out. But then I started thinking about like it helped me figure out like where I wanted to sort of focus on, which was like a lot of stuff in the sort of armor here, and then like just a more serious face, a more hopefully accurate face. But yeah, so this is the second version of Hawk I've drawn today. I'm pretty sure that like Dynamite or some other uh, publisher like that tried to do a Buck Rogers comic a few years back, but I feel like it didn't do well. It's hard to really remember. I didn't read it, so I guess that's sort of hindering my memory. They had fewer episodes in the second season. Yeah, probably. I think they started late because there had been an actors' strike that year. I'm back. Did we talk about what people did for Inktober? I asked Jay Underworld. Haven't really heard much back. Hmm. Ryan Corey joins us. Hello. Who was Hawk's girlfriend? She was named Corey. Um, don't remember a lot about her, to be honest. Oh, Graphite Grappler says, I drew posters of Pac Man, Street Fighter. He had pizza burgers. Nice. Graphite Grappler drew a fat gamer. I'm drawing Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex. That's a good one for Prickly. Yeah, Jonah Hex. Awesome character. Man, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see a Jonah Hex series illustrated by Tony Moore. I think he would knock that thing out of the park. Let him write it too. That guy knows his horror, he knows westerns. I don't know if I've ever heard Tony specifically say that that's something he'd want to do, but I know he likes the character, and I just feel like his art style would be perfect for it. That said, I'm pretty sure he's currently working on some upcoming issues of Thor, which, yeah, that could be very cool. Big fan of Tony's work. Hmm. Gonna throw in a bunch of blacks here real quick, and then I'll rejoin everyone. Alright, I'll take a small break just to see what questions there are. I feel like I'm too quiet. Let's see. Tales from Island Z. Flash Gordon by himself or Guardians of Earth Flash? Flash by himself. McCoy Greco says, anyone drawing the Porcupine villain from Marvel? No, that would be a fun idea, though, definitely. Let's see. Jack Jones. A lot of people worked on Battlestar Galactica, also worked on Buck Rogers. Oh, didn't know that. Let's see. I haven't been... it looks like not too many people have been drawing, and that's okay. Alright, see you, TARDIS Rider. Thanks for jumping in. No, I don't know which episode you're referring to, Jojo. I have to admit that my... it seems that my memory of Buck Rogers is pretty weak. Don't remember too much of it. So, what's everybody watching these days? Anything that you'd strongly recommend? About the only thing I'm really watching right now is Daredevil on Netflix. I'm really enjoying it. When I finish it, I hope to watch Haunting on Hill House and Maniac. But it'll probably take me a little longer. I used to just sort of binge that stuff in like a weekend, but it's amazing how little free time I have these days. It's taken some getting used to. But it's a choice, obviously. I'm choosing to work on comic tropes and on artwork and stuff like that, so I'm not upset. It's a choice. The only thing I'm missing right now is sleep. I'm pretty tired a lot of the time. But I think I'll catch up on that as soon as November begins. No huge plans there. You watch comic tropes? Yeah. Let's say Daredevil, all 3 seasons are amazing. Yeah, especially 1 and 3. Dragon Prince and Lost in Space. Cool. I've got Dragon Prince is the animated show, right? Because I've got a friend that worked on that. He's also was an animator for season 3, was it, of Rick and Morty? And he worked a lot on Dragon Prince, if it's what I'm thinking of. I think sometimes, like, I daydream and I go, you know, I think I might have enjoyed being an animator. I think I might have enjoyed that work. I don't know. Never studied it. I just really like drawing and I like animation. I think I would have. I think I might have enjoyed that career path if I had discovered it, you know, a lot earlier. As it is now, I just sort of mess around every once in a while on like an animated project of my own, just to sort of try to play with the tools. It's not the smoothest or the prettiest thing, but it is interesting. I do really like animation a lot. As far as Prickly goes, would Annihilus count? Absolutely. Javon Miles says that he saw First Man. That looks really interesting. Yeah, that looks really interesting. Hawk from Buck Rogers versus King Voltan from Flash Gordon. Who wins? Probably King Voltan. Let's be honest. Probably King Voltan. Yeah, because also, like Tales from the Island Z says, Hawk can't actually fly. The extent of his bird person abilities seem to be that he wears a helmet made of feathers. Not quite as impressive as being able to fly. This is coming out awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe. We'll see. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Richard Hawker. I appreciate that. Hawk had feathers, but he was a flightless bird. Yeah, he didn't have many feathers. He had sort of like some things on his arms, and he had like this thing on his head, and that's about it. Let's see here. Not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing with all this shading yet. I'm just sort of experimenting more than anything else. Whoa, thanks, Sweet Lime Juice. I really appreciate that. That's so nice of you. Always appreciate a super chat. Thank you. That makes my day. It really does. So much generosity. I would never ask for it, but I'm really, really grateful. It certainly helps. I would love to get to a point where I've got so many viewers on YouTube or something that I can just turn off the variability to donate super chats, but I'm not there yet. I ain't rich. Definitely ain't rich. So that's thank you. Let's see what other questions there are. He had his own bird chip. That's true. That's a good point. I sometimes do pixel animation for my channel. That's from Graphite Grappler. That sounds really cool. Which version of Hawk is this? The only version I know, but I didn't know there was more than one version. I'm just basing it off of Season 2 Hawk. And like I said, I did a quick sketch from memory this morning during my lunch break, and then I sat down and looked up a costume reference on Google image search to try to make a more accurate rendition. Beyond that, I couldn't really tell you. I don't know of any other versions, is what I'm saying. Care Bear Comics asks, "It's interesting I didn't recognize Hawk. I remember liking the Buck Rogers show when it was on when I was younger. I basically just remember the robot from everybody remembers Twiki. Bitty bitty bitty. Awesome." Yeah, I remember Buck Rogers being pretty intentionally campy, at least in that first year. It was pretty silly stuff. Too sweet, me comic tropes. Well, thank you. Beady beady beady. No Justice, No Peace says, just wondering if you've seen that cool pen which can detect a color it's pointed at and then mix that color automatically from an internal reservoir of inks. No, I haven't seen something like that. That sounds really fun. Sansanity is here. Sansanity, you were the first one to guess what this could be. When I gave a hint last night, I said Searcher, and you said Buck Rogers. So you were already on the right path, but I didn't want to give it away by saying yes. But I remember that you said that. So is this not DC's Hawk? No, not DC's superhero Hawk. No, this is just Hawk of the Bird People. going to clean up a little of this pencil outline because I've not really followed it all that closely in a lot of places. It's sort of messy and distracting to me. I'll at least take off a little bit of it. Can clean the rest up later. But with any character, the fewer lines you have along the face, the younger they'll look, and I just felt like this guy was starting to look a little weird, but that makes me feel a little better. Anybody remember the Silverhawks cartoon? I remember that one. Well, thank you for the kind words, Fernando. I'll try to stay positive. I mean, I might have a very critical review from time to time, but I'll always be honest with my opinions, and I'll try to back it up with, you know, what I'm talking about. Like, you know, just explain where I'm coming from. I'll always try to do that. Partly metal, partly steel. Yeah, this is from Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers. Definitely not DC Comics, no. No, I know that they have a guy named Hawk, but this is not that character. Oh yeah, bro. This is Hawk from Buck Rogers, bro. True Fan Forum says the actor who played Hawk was the villain in a movie called Wizard of the Lost Kingdom. I don't know that movie, but I'm pretty sure the actor's name was Tom Christopher. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that because my name's Chris, and I think that I locked that into my memory. Yeah, I think I'm right on that. The pen was a Kickstarter. Did it get made? Yeah, the one I've never heard of that pen. That's interesting. Silverhawks was a cool looking cartoon. It was made by the same people that did Thundercats. Yeah, Silverhawks was it had a great opening animation, but go back and watch like the sort of like regular episodes, and you'll see that like it didn't really hold up. It's disappointing. Like the animation for the episodes, I didn't think was usually too amazing. Silver, nope, no questions. Okay, no new questions. No new. No. Hey. Feel free to jump in with any good questions. It'll keep things moving. Looks like I've got a good internet connection, so guess just nobody's got anything to talk about. Let's see, what do I have to talk about? What can I come up with? Let me just make sure. Is this working? Maybe my chat stopped working. I wonder. Or at least my ability to stream it properly. I'm going to try to look it up. Just seems very odd that everybody went quiet for quite a while there. Usually there's regular conversation, so I'm just looking on my iPhone. Okay, well, seems to be working. Just not much going on in chat. Okay. Seems odd to me. Seems like something isn't working properly, but not much I can do about it right now. So instead, I'll try to think of stories to tell for the people that are watching this while it's archived. So let's see. I wouldn't say that Buck Rogers was a show that I watched a lot as a kid. Only a little bit. I didn't watch much Star Trek either. I don't think I watched a lot of sci-fi growing up just because nobody else in my family did either. So the only stuff I really remember very well was Star Wars and Greatest American Hero when it comes to TV. Those were two big ones for me. I did watch a few reruns of Lost in Space, which was cool because the guy that played Major Don West on that show ended up getting his teaching degree after Lost in Space, and his family was from my small town south of Boston, so every once in a while he would be a substitute, and I don't think all the kids definitely knew who he was, but I did, and I thought it was awesome. It was like having a superhero as a teacher all of a sudden out of nowhere, so that was always exciting. But Buck Rogers wasn't one I knew a whole lot about when I was younger. Something I know a little bit more about now, just sort of like trying to understand more history of comics and stuff, and sort of understanding that Buck Rogers does have a place there. The guy that wrote it was, last name was like Nolan. I can't remember his full name or everything that he contributed. But it was his idea, you know, to take his successful story and approach a comic strip syndicate so that they could develop it. And they were like, yeah, we'd love to. So it was a very popular comic strip for a very long time. So that was a really good idea on his part to sort of recognize the potential. And Buck Rogers definitely predates Flash Gordon, so that's pretty cool. Oh, whoa, all of a sudden I'm getting a ton of chats all of a sudden. Wow. Hold on. Look at all of this. Alright, it must have gotten hung up on YouTube's end. Is Chris's chat stuck? It was. Whoa, super chat from Sweet Lime Juice that says, I have an Instagram you should look at. I'm donating. I enjoy your videos. I will look. I will look, Lime Juice. Whoa, look at that. Keith Stoll also with a... Keith Stoll also hits me with a super chat. That's. Thank you both. Thank you very much. The drawing of Hawk looks cooler than the picture in the thumbnail. Well, I guess that's what I'm sort of trying to do, but I didn't know if I was actually accomplishing it. Thanks. Yeah, it looks like the chat might be back. It obviously must have been hung up something fierce for a while. How strange. I don't know if it's actually even caught up, to be honest, because it looks like no one's really reacting yet to the fact that I'm saying like that it's back. So it could be hung up more than once, I suppose. How frustrating. Doesn't seem like the video itself is lagging, because I was able to pull it up on my iPhone and it was basically in real time, but the actual chat wasn't really reacting the same way. All I can say is thanks for your patience if you've stuck around, and I completely understand if you haven't. So not much we can do, I guess, other than just sort of let the YouTube lag go away. Hopefully YouTube doesn't crash. Didn't it crash like just over a week ago or something? Don't want to deal with that. Hey, cat. Well, damn. Hard to be a good host when there's not much interaction. It means that I just have to talk. I have to force myself to think of a topic and just go for it. What else is worth talking about? You know, what's tricky is that like so much of my day is spent at my job. And it is interesting to talk about, you know, the various sort of customers that come in looking for cars. But I'm not going to talk about them. Like, I want to protect their privacy. You know, maybe down the road someday, if, you know, there's a day where I'm not working there and enough time has passed, I think I could sort of describe in general the stories of like what kind of cars and people come through. And I think it is interesting. But I wouldn't want to do it now where people could potentially feel like they're being spoken about. I don't want to share any private information, not even by accident. So there's not a lot that I could necessarily say there. But I do have some really good co-workers and friends. Wait, did I miss another super chat? It looks like I did. Hold on. Let's see here. Tales from Island Z says, thanks for the hard work. I enjoy what you do. Thank you. I'm going to scroll up real quick to see... just looking for some feedback from a fellow artist with sweet lime juices. All right, that's totally reasonable. Like 10 pages of chats just came through. I know, it's pretty crazy. I'm scrolling back up to see. Yeah, it looks like we might finally be caught up. I'll wait. Media on display is here. How can I help you? Well, thank you all for joining and for being patient, as apparently the it is current now. Says Sanity current. Yep, nice work, Chris. Thank you, Ramon. That's really nice of you. That can, yeah, I don't know what censors it. You know, there's like a default censor that I haven't like touched. So probably honestly just saying something as simple as stupid YouTube considers potentially offensive, and they're blocking that. And since I don't want anyone to treat each other like crap, and I don't have a moderator in place, I'm basically just leaving it as is for now. Someday down the road, I'll probably appoint a couple moderators. Don't have time right now. McCoy, I use GIMP. You were bullying your fingers. Yeah, exactly. Anyone else color their pictures using editing apps like PixArt? The only thing I personally use is Photoshop. So I'm not a super expert in telling you like what kind of programs and software are out there. I've also played a little with the trial version of Manga Art Studio, although I think they may have renamed that. But that one's also a really cool program to work with. But I love Photoshop. I've just used it for decades at this point, and really solid program. Once you use Adobe, like I feel like it's easier to just sort of keep using Adobe and to stay current with their updates. So yeah, that's what I like. Chris, has anyone asked you what you think the worst imaginable comic crossover would be? Oh, interesting question, big man. What would the worst crossover be? It would probably be something that like benefits a comic that doesn't deserve it, you know? Like, and I can't think right now off the top of my head of like a really offensively bad comic, but if there was like something like that and Marvel was like, here, we're gonna have Captain America crossover with you, that would be bad. Like if there's a comic out there that's made by pedophiles or something, like I would say, hey, not a good comic for Superman or Batman or Spider-Man to pop up in. So that's the worst thing that I can imagine is a big publisher getting tricked by a really bad project. That seems really unlikely. So I could be wrong, but I think that there's some sort of a wrestling pay-per-view this coming Sunday because one of my friends that's into that invited me to his house to watch something or other wrestling. So I don't know if it's old or new, but whatever it is, I'm going to be watching it. I don't keep too up to date with wrestling, just mostly because I don't have TV right now. But I do like pro wrestling, or at least I did. I can't say that I haven't kept up with it in years. So, but that's apparently something I'll be doing this coming weekend. That could be fun. Oh yeah, look, I just realized I'm wearing a pro wrestling shirt, but I got this in Japan. This is Japanese promotion that I usually like. I gotta look up exactly what Hawk's emblem is that he wears here, because I just sort of roughed that in and I don't know exactly what it looks like. Let's see here. That's not a good picture. This one looks a little better. What's the worst Liefeld comic you've read? The one that he had somebody else draw, that he wrote like about like the Greek gods getting beaten up by Jesus. That one was pretty bad. I didn't really quite understand what he was going for on that. me clean this up just a little bit here. What's the comic where Jesus beats up? I think it's called The Goddessy. That was pretty bad. Probably not going to appeal to too many people. Yeah, remember, I've got a crappy comic contest going on, so if you come across something that you think is especially weird or egregious, you know, hopefully hilariously bad, not just boring bad, you can send it to me, and the winner will receive a very rare real comic book that Marvel once made printed on toilet paper. It's a full roll of unused toilet paper that has their Spider-Man Hulk comic book on it. Go back like 3 weeks and I've got a video, so just keep that in mind. Do you have the rest of Inktober's topics planned out? I don't have any of them planned out more than, like, sometimes I think of it the night before. What about, let's see, Creature Tech. Creature Tech's a really good comic. No promises, but I might be able to get the N-Gen Marvel comic. Ooh, very much would like to read and review that one. Very much would like to. Let's see. Mantra was sexy. I don't know who Mantra was. Was that a superhero, like, to do with the water? I can't remember. Let's see. Didn't they only make like 3 mantras before it was canceled? I don't know. People are talking chick tracts. See ya, Graphite Grappler. Thanks so much for stopping by. Mantra was from Malibu. Oh, was it part of the Ultraverse? That seems likely, huh? That sounds likely. But I don't know who drew it. It's been too long. If I went back and refreshed my memory, it would probably come flooding back. It's amazing how much useless comics knowledge I have banging around in my head, like, that just every once in a while pops unbidden to the surface. I'm like, what? Oh, right, yeah, that. Why do I still remember that? I don't need to know that. But it's up there for some reason. Oh, brains. Here's a question. If you had to become a doctor, what kind of a doctor would you be? Internal medicine, psychology, surgery, pediatrician, plastic surgeon. If you had to be a doctor, what kind of doctor would you end up being? David Patrick shoots out a bunch of Halloween ideas. Have I read the new League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comics coming out? No, I only read the first 2 of those. Interesting. C. Kim joins us. I don't think I said hello, but hello. Love Doctor, a Dr. Pepper, Dr. Strange. Sanity points out that Doug TenNapel sort of went nuts. I kind of agree. I really like Creature Tech, but at a certain point, he just seemed to become extra religious and kind of cranky. So I don't know exactly when that was, but I do agree that he seemed to sort of change and be like he had made some really funny and out there comics and ideas, and then he just sort of seemed to go a very different direction at a certain point in time. A time-traveling doctor. I love it. Time Lord. Let's see. If I was a doctor, I would be the Time Lord kind. Dr. Octopus. I love that none of you took this very seriously. Okay, hold on. Jojo says, I think some sort of a doctor to do with aging. Okay, so there you go. Thank you. That was a serious answer. One person was serious. Ooh, Sansanity says that Doug TenNapel went on radio and went on a rant against gay marriage. Well, I didn't hear that, but I definitely heard some stuff that like would lead me to believe that unfortunately that could be true. Yeah, Creature Text protagonist did have him sort of renounce evolution, didn't he? So there were like sort of some seeds underneath. Yeah. I guess we should have seen where it could have gone, but it was just like he had such a sense of humor that I just would never have guessed that that was the direction he'd go. Wonder if it was a 9/11 thing like it was for so many people, sort of changing how they perceived the world and dealt with it. I don't know. Still, I do still think I'd recommend Creature Tech as a good read, and I would recommend like Earthworm Jim and even the Sock Baby Kung Fu videos that he released. Those were pretty cool. So a lot of good stuff. Hello, cat. Or should I say, hello, kitty? Hey. This is my friend Milo. You want to say hello to the folks? Yeah, you're handsome. I love cats for some reason. I find them very relaxing and very fun and funny. You like your dad? He's purring. Hi, Milo. See, a bunch of people are saying hi to you. He's super shy, so he'd probably run and hide if any of you joined the show. We should comics quiz Chris. You should quiz me, but I can't guarantee on the spot, under pressure, how well I do. You like this? You like your belly being rubbed? Look at everybody saying hi to you. That's so nice. C. Kim has 4 hairless sphinxes and 1 stray. Oh, that's so nice. Hello, Ellis Grieger. I don't think I said hello to you yet today. And hello, Rosanna Mann. Hopefully I said hello to everybody that jumped in. Now he's acting silly and sort of just chasing a little piece of string. That's so funny. Like he's like 14 years old, and every once in a while he'll still just sort of get a bunch of wild kitten in him and just feel all playful. That's what I kind of like about him. He's very affectionate towards me. He's shy. Like if you know, the postman rings the mail person rings the doorbell, he'll sort of run upstairs. Like he gets a little nervous and apprehensive, and he just sort of peeks down the stairs. If friends come over, he'll hide sort of around the corner and wait until they've been here a while before he comes out to, you know, say hello. But around Chrissy and me, he's really affectionate. He's always jumping in our laps and pushing up against us. And I have another cat, Chibi, and they've known each other since they were babies. And I got them together. Like they're not from the same litter, but I got them at the same time so that they'd each have a buddy. And they frequently take naps together and give each other tongue baths and stuff like that. They really like cuddling. So I feel like I've raised them well. All right. Okay. First question. What is the name of superhuman alias Martin Blank? Don't know. Not coming to me. Other than the comic The Hunger, who wins between Galactus or Darkseid? Galactus. Wasn't it OMAC? Was it OMAC? Martin Blank. Martin Blank does sound like a DC character. Let's see. Nice Bullet Club shirt. That's too sweet. Thank you, James. I got this at New Japan Pro Wrestling store in Tokyo, right across the street from Karuken Hall in Tokyo Dome. Ah, cats are awesome. Second question: what is Doctor Doom's mother's name? Oh, Jesus. I think it's Cynthia or something close to that. Our esteemed Mr. Blank is known as the Gibbon. That's right, the Gibbon. Well, that's pretty obscure. I'm pretty sure Cynthia Von Doom is Doctor Doom's mother's name. Let's see. Anything else? Mrs. Doom. Yeah. Mrs. Doctor Doom. Well, she didn't marry him, so I guess she wouldn't be Mrs. Doctor. This isn't like a monarch and Doctor Girlfriend situation. All right, other questions. Mom Doom. Doom's dad was a doctor. What are your thoughts on Umbrella Academy? I've only read the first volume, but I thought it was pretty cool stuff. Curious to see what they do with it as a TV show. Had some really deep, interesting characters, so I liked it, and I liked how weird it was. So I really hope that any adaptations definitely keep it weird and keep the sort of dysfunctional family drama, because I think that that's what it's all about at its core. Like, forget the, you know, super geniuses and thieveries and everything. It's all about neuroses and family drama and family interactions, families having trouble relating and staying in touch. Like, I feel like that's something very relatable. So it really needs to focus on that family drama if you expect it to work. And that said, you still have to like make the characters pretty likable, which that can be a challenge. That can be a challenge. Let's see. Marvel's best fighter should be Shang-Chi. Yeah, maybe so. Bau's art is fabulous too. Yeah, I like it. I do like it. C. Kim says not good art or writing. Are you talking, C. Kim? Are you saying that you didn't care for Umbrella Academy, or something else? Doom's dad was a gypsy healer. Yeah, that sounds right. He's definitely from gypsy parentage, so that sounds right. What are you doing, Milo? You want to come back here? You're so silly. Romani, the G word is a slur. That's fair. That's fair. I will say this. I actually live in an area where there are a lot of, we'll say Romani. They will call themselves gypsies. They do. I don't know if that's a regional thing, because I have heard that you're supposed to refer to them as Romani, but I have heard them call themselves gypsies, and it's very hard to understand how they operate. I worked for a healthcare chain in the area, and when they would come to get like health care at the hospitals, I'm like trying to think of how to like say this in a sensitive manner, because I don't want to like, this isn't a slur, this is me talking about stuff that I witnessed and was told, so some of this is secondhand but not third hand. But they would like say they were in a hospital room, they would take everything that wasn't nailed down. They would just like, take, sheets and pillows and even telephones. That was just a thing. And I don't know. It's like, if you ask them not to, they'd usually be pretty polite and not do that. But if you didn't say not to, they had this habit of just taking whatever wasn't nailed down. And I never understood that. But they live a little bit off the grid, I think. They have a different culture that's their own, and I don't feel like it's really something that we've seen represented in media. So I really can't claim to understand it very well. I have met a bunch. They seem really nice when you talk to them and everything. They just definitely keep to their own kind a lot. At least some of the older ones. Maybe the kids not as much these days. That I guess I don't know. I haven't met like any Romani teenagers or anything now that I think of it. It's always been kind of 40, 50 somethings. So I don't know. It's weird. Let's seg from that. The topic can be loaded. Yeah, I suppose I'm just sort of telling bad stories out of turn, so that probably wasn't the best idea. Oh well. Just something I witnessed. It was interesting. Well, I'm getting close to. I think I'm done with what I'm going to ink here. Let me give it a few shades of gray to see what I can do to sort of pull some of this out a little bit, and maybe give it a little bit of depth or pizzazz. We'll see. Any current reads you would recommend? Yeah. Let's see. Current. Well, I don't know actually. I guess I'm not really reading anything that's currently coming out on a monthly basis. I like My Hero Academia. That's still coming out. I like that a lot. I like what else do I like? Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here. Give me a moment. What else do I like? I'm starting to read some image stuff, like a Monstrous, that seems pretty good. I don't know if that's still coming out, but if it is, I thought that was pretty cool. I loved, this ended just recently, but I really loved Kill or Be Killed. But I kind of like everything that Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker do, so I don't know if that's really making much of a statement there. Anyway, can't think of much else right now. But I also think I'm sincerely sleep deprived at this moment. Oh, that's interesting, Broom's faulty. I guess I never thought about where the term came from. Let's see. McCoy Greco says, I read Hawkman, Flash, Justice League, and Titans. I was going to read Heroes in Crisis, but I hated the first issue. Well, that's a lot of DC stuff. Have I read or watched much of Ranma Half or Urusei Yatsura? No, I haven't for either of those, I'm afraid. What non-superpowered characters have beaten the Batman in hand-to-hand combat? Lady Shiva, Captain America, maybe Richard Dragon. That's about all I've got off the top of my head. Bane. I mean, I guess I'm pretty sure that even off Venom, he's beaten him at least once, but I don't know. Yeah, I love Sean Phillips too. The Ancient beat Batman. I don't know The Ancient. Alright, so that was 4. Now where's my number 2? There it is. I'm a terrible comics fan. I follow artists, not titles, characters, or writers. Yeah, I follow basically writers and artists personally, so I don't think that's terrible at all. I think that that's totally normal. At a certain point, you know, an individual character's month-to-month activities just aren't necessarily as interesting, and you want to just follow a writer who or an artist who've done a good take on one of your favorite pieces, and I think that's totally normal. I think that happens to everybody at a certain point. They just feel like, I've seen most of the interpretations of this character. I'm ready to move on to other types of stories. That's just my 2 cents. I could be wrong. This stuff is fun, folks. Everybody should get themselves a nice pack of Copics and just go nuts. It is a blast. What is the worst movie you've ever seen all the way through? That's always kind of interesting to learn. All right, let's see. Lobster Man from Mars, Elizabethtown, Circle of Iron, The Suckling? Don't know that one. These are interesting, folks. Thank you. I kind of love, I was going to say bad movies, but it's not really bad movies so much as I love commentary and analysis of bad movies to sort of like explain what happened, if you can explain it, and then try to comprehend it. I enjoy stuff like that. I find that stuff pretty entertaining. What else did I miss? Max Payne, Birdemic, Robot Monster, Samurai Cop, Samurai Cop 2. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Lion King. I didn't think Lion King was a bad movie. I'm not going to say that it's Disney's absolute best either, but and it's a little derivative, but I didn't think it was bad. But what does I know? Very little. The Great Gatsby. Which version? Sorry, I got quiet again. The book. Oh. After the Fall of New York wasn't the worst John Carpenter Escape from New York ripoff movie they could have made. Okay, I guess I didn't understand that. I read a Grisham book because I made a deal with my friend. I'd read a book he chose and he'd read a book I chose. I've never had any interest in reading like those Grisham law books personally. Let's see. Early in Heinlein's career, he was a crypto-fascist. Yeah, that's fair, I suppose. Let's see. Even movies like Howard the Duck are entertaining on a certain level. Yeah, well, there's entertaining bad and there's boring bad, you know? So that's why I kind of like a lot of bad movies. Like something like Howard the Duck is pretty entertaining. Yeah. Well, I think that'll basically do it. I don't know how good it necessarily is, but it was a lot of fun to draw. I kind of like it personally. It's a weird choice, I think, to draw this guy, Hawk. But yeah, here we go. This was a blast, guys. I had a good time doing this one. I've had a good time on so many of these. Like, there's, you know, and honestly, I'm really tired right now, but this flew by. This flew by just talking to all of you, telling stories and drawing. This was an easy night. Do you go back and touch up the drawings, or once you're done, you're done? For these, once I'm done, I'm done. I'm considering this sort of practice time, learning time, experimental time. This is not for something that's getting published, so I'm allowing myself to approach it differently, and whatever I do in about an hour to an hour and a half, I just say, that's what I accomplished, and that's what I learned, and time to move on to the next piece, you know? So, yeah, this is basically all I'll do on that, and my goal isn't necessarily to finish any of these. It's more just to sort of keep drawing and keep learning. So yeah, but I'm fairly content with how this came out. I feel like I like the head the most actually, but it was good. It was good. Chris, Cobra Commander mask, reflective or hood? Tough call, but I think hood is creepier. Anyway, you sound like you know what you're talking about. Is that me or somebody else? If you have time, try to push those grays further. I don't have the time, otherwise I would. But I agree, like they definitely could go further. Could look cooler. Not on a warm, cool art scale, just like it could look better. But it's all a question of what I have time for and just learning. And I feel like I did learn some tonight. There's definitely a few things I do a little differently, a few things that I'm happy with, and so I learned, and that's what's important to me. But also important is just having an opportunity to talk with all of you, and it was fun. All right, I'm going to take off, folks. I'll see you tomorrow, and until then, keep reading comics, all right? Just do that.